Hi Tacoma, welcome back to your first grade TV classroom. Today is Friday, December 4th, and I'm Mrs. Oslin. As always, let's take a moment and check in with our zone. Think about what emotion you're feeling. Think about your I message. You'll remember it's important to think about using an I message so that you can share with other people how you're feeling, because they might not be able to tell just by looking at your face. You'll remember your I message sounds like, I feel because Take some more think time. I'm going to practice sharing my I message with Rashid. Rashid, I'm in the yellow zone today because everything is just feeling really big and overwhelming. I have a lot going on. I have a lot going on in my brain and with my body. So I think I'm going to take a moment to do some hand breathing to get my brain and my body reconnected so that I can focus. Now you go ahead and take a moment to share your I message with your learning buddy, someone in the room with you, or with me on the screen. I'm so glad to hear that so many of you are in the green zone, but there's also some of you that are in the blue and the yellow and the red zone also. So let's all together practice our hand breathing. You'll remember hand breathing starts with putting your hand up, and you use your other finger to trace your hand. And as you move up, you inhale, which means breathe in through your nose. And as you move down, you exhale, which means breathe out through your mouth. Practice doing this with me. That feels so much better. Thank you so much for taking the time to do some hand breathing with me so that my brain and my body are better connected so that I can focus. Now, first graders, the materials that you are going to need for today's lesson are your learning buddy. I have Rashid. You might have another stuffed animal or a pet rock or someone in the room that can do some thinking and speaking with you. You'll also need your ELA packet. You will need and a pencil. So take a moment, gather those materials, and then come back ready to go. You ready? Okay. You can go ahead and put your materials to the side because we're going to remind ourselves how we behave and act when we come together. Every day when we come together, your job is to listen, share, and read and write. You are a strong listener when you have your eyes on the speaker, which right now is me, when you listen to the speaker, and when you think about the words or the ideas that I'm asking you to think about. You are going to get opportunities to share your thinking today. I do want you talking and sharing what you're thinking. I want you talking about the book or the ideas. And if you have someone in the room with you who's also going to be sharing, this is an opportunity for you to practice your listening skills when it's their turn to share. Today, we are learning how readers grow by reflecting, which means thinking about, an author's purpose and inspiration, which means why did the author write the book? We're going to think about that today. We're also going to learn how writers clearly describe what the characters see and where the story takes place. And we're going to pay really close attention to our illustrations today because our illustrators often will make it very clear where the story takes place by how they draw their pictures. You'll remember we read the book You Can Do It, Sam by Amy Hest, and it was illustrated by Anita Jerem. And take a moment and think about if you remember where this story takes place. you might remember the words that the author used, or you might be able to tell just by looking at this picture. Take some think time. Now turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking about where this story You Can Do It, Sam takes place. Go ahead. Rashid, I think I remember the author tells us that it takes place on Plum Street, and I'm noticing that the illustrator has showed us that it's winter because there's snow on the ground and it looks dark outside. So I think I remember it's either early in the morning or in the evening. Now you'll remember the setting isn't just where the story takes place, it's also when, the time of year, the time of day, all of those little pieces add up to the setting. Now you'll remember we read this book, Big Owl. It was written by Andrew Clements and illustrated by Yoshi. And we learned about Big Owl, and he was the nicest fish in the ocean. But the other fish didn't know that at first because he looked kind of scary. Now, if you look at the front cover and you can see the illustration that Yoshi provided us, we can tell that the fish are in water. But can we tell if it's in the ocean or in a fish tank just by looking at this picture? Take some think time. What do you think? Can you tell or not yet? I can't yet tell because there's not a lot of details in the background to tell me if it's in the ocean or in a fish tank. But I know it's in water because Yoshi made the background blue and then you can see the white bubbles around Big Owl. Now we're gonna read Big Owl thinking about two things. Are you ready to do some really important thinking here? The author's purpose. Why did Andrew Clements write this book? And how did our illustrator or the author give us clues about the setting, where and when the story takes place? Are you ready? Okay. In your ELA packet, you can find this graphic organizer. It's called What's the Purpose? And it's on page 77. Take a moment and get it out in front of you with your pencil because we're going to use this to do some thinking about why Andrew Clements wrote this story. Go ahead. Now, think about why would an author write a story? There's a couple different reasons. One might be to entertain us, to make us happy, to make us sad, to make us feel things. It could be to teach us something, like an informational text. Are we meant to learn something new from this text? Or it could be to persuade us, to change the way we think or feel about something. Think about those three purposes as we read. Oh, Yoshi, what a beautiful illustration. I see lots of fish. I see lots of blue water. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Owl. You could not find a nicer fish. Okay, our author has told us the setting right there in that very first sentence. I'm going to reread it and then I'm going to ask you to turn and tell your learning buddy the setting of Big Owl. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Owl. Turn and tell your learning buddy, what is the setting of our story? You heard it. It is in the wide blue sea or the ocean. So we were thinking on the front cover, it could be a fish tank or it could be in the sea. And now we know for sure it's in the ocean. But Big Owl was also very scary. Other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many, but Big Al had none. He did not really blame the other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like his? So Big Al was lonely and cried big salty tears into the big salty sea. When we read Big Al previously, we talked about how we can tell how the character is feeling based on looking at the picture, and the author tells us right there, Big Al was lonely. Let's keep reading, thinking about why did Andrew Clements write this book? But Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First, he tried wrapping himself up with seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise, but no one else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant that has big, sharp teeth? Right there, our illustrator Yoshi has also given us more clues about the setting because it includes the seaweed and the shells and the starfish that you would see in the ocean. Then he thought that if he puffed himself up round, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he could be. All they saw was how big he could be, and they steered clear. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom and flopped and wiggled himself into the sand until he was almost covered up. He looked much smaller. When the other fish came near, Big Al talked and joked with them and had a delightful time. But then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills, and he sneezed. When the clouds of sand cleared away, all the other fish were gone. Wow, Big Al is really trying to make friends. Think about what has he done so far to try to make friends. Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you remember about what Big Al has tried. Rashid, Big Al tried to cover himself up in plants and seaweed, and he tried to get really silly and he puffed himself up really big, and then he tried to bury himself. This is another page where our illustrator also gives us more clues because he says he went down to the bottom, and then you can see in the picture that there's sand at the bottom of the ocean. Big Al even changed his color one day so he could look like he belonged to a school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was just one of the crowd. But he was so big and clumsy that when all the tiny fish darted to the left and then quickly back to the right, Big Al just plowed straight ahead. He went bumping and thumping right into the little fish. Before he could even say, "Excuse me," they were gone, and he was all alone again, sadder than ever. Now, let's check in with what we think our author's purpose might be. Do you think Andrew Clements is trying to teach us something new? Not really. I'm not learning about a specific topic by reading this book. Do you think Andrew Clements is trying to persuade me to do something or feel a certain way about a topic? Not really. Do you think Andrew Clements is trying to entertain us? To make us feel happy or sad about our characters? Maybe. Let's keep reading and see if we can get more clues. Just when Big Al was starting to be sure that he would never have a single friend, something happened. He was floating along sadly, watching some of the smaller fish, and was wishing they would come closer. As he watched, a net dropped down silently from above, and in an instant, they were caught. What are you feeling now? Check in. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're feeling now that we've read this page. Rashid, I'm feeling scared for the fish that are caught in a net. I wonder what's going to happen. I'm noticing that our illustrator has also included on our fish's faces some clear emotion. Big Al forgot all about being lonely, and he forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever, and with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and charged straight at the net. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and all the little fish rushed out through the hole. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go out of the hole, he got all tangled up in the net. He was stuck. The net went higher and higher toward the bright surface of the sea, and the little fish watched as Big Al, he disappeared above them. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was the huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great to be free, but what a shame that the big fellow had been captured. Just then, there was a tremendous crashing splash above them, and the small fish dashed away. Was it the net again? Not at all. It was Big Al. Those fishermen took one look at him and threw him right back into the ocean. Now, we learned that Big Al was a friendly fish, but he looked very, very scary, and that made it hard for him to make friends. But it also made it so that the fishermen didn't want to keep him. And now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else. Big Al. And right there, our author tells us again that our setting is, now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else. Big Al. And again, our illustrator has provided a wonderful picture, giving us a lot of information about exactly where they are in the big sea. Today we're learning how readers grow by reflecting on author's purpose and inspiration. We're also learning how writers clearly describe what the characters see and where the story takes place. And in this book, Big Al, our author told us and our illustrator showed us the setting. Okay, your job today in your independent reading is to pay close attention to the setting. Where and when is your story taking place? You're also going to think about what is the author's purpose. I also want you're doing a lot of important work today, in Appendix 2, think about, as you're reading, what do readers use, think about, and do as you infer? Which means when we were looking at the pages and the pictures in Big Al, we could tell how the animals were feeling by looking at the pictures. That's inferring. And I want you to practice doing that while you're independently reading today. You're also going to independently write today. Before you even get out pencils and your learning notebook to do your writing, you think about what you're going to write about. Think about how, as a writer, you will draw your illustrations so that your reader knows your setting. And how are you going to write using words describing what your characters see? You're also going to try your best. In your packet, this is where you're going to do your writing. You're going to use, there's 2 pages that I'm going to show you, and you can pick. You can pick page 6, which has descriptive settings, where you can look at the pictures, and the first picture shows a cabin and some trees in a snowy woods. You can, on the lines, describe that setting, including what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like. Or you could describe the beach scene where there's sand and an umbrella. How would that feel? And how could you describe that setting so that your readers really feel like they're there? Or You could use page 7, which is sketch a setting. You could sketch your own, draw your own, and then write words on the lines that describe your setting so that your reader, again, really feels like they're there. You're going to use your phonics professor words to help you with your writing. You can use uppercase and lowercase letters, letter names and sounds, syllables, vowels, consonants, digraphs, and blends to help you with your writing. You can also read your word wall. You can read it loud like a monster, scary like a witch, squeaky like a mouse, whisper like a secret, or invent your own. And if you invent your own and it's something that you want to share and it's okay with your adult, you could ask them to record you and send it to us here at our TV classroom, and we will share it with other first graders. And I have to tell you, guess what happened this week? We got a letter from Amelia. Amelia, thank you so much for your letter. We're gonna hang it up here in our TV classroom. And friends, please write us. It's so exciting for us to get letters from you, and we can post them here in our TV classroom. As always, friends, thank you so much for thinking and reading and writing with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Now, this is your 5-minute break before you come back ready to go with Mrs. Wally. Make sure you take care of your needs, but also gather your materials. You will need your whiteboard and marker. You already have your learning buddy, but make sure you also grab your counters. Thanks again so much, and have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye. There's Big Al.
Hi, first graders. Welcome back. Are you ready for Friday math? It is Fact Fun Friday. Are you ready to do some math facts? Let's go. What is that one? What is it, Rashid? It's 10. 5 plus 5 is 10. Nice job. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, if 5 plus 5 is 10, what's 6 plus 6? Pebble, you said 12. How did you know it was 12? Oh, Pebble says, I know it's 12 because, oh, I love that word because. It tells me he's going to explain something. Because 5 plus 5 is 10 and 6 is one more than 5. So I have 2 extras, and 10 and 2 is 12. Does anyone have a different way they know 6 plus 6 was 12? You just knew it because you've learned your doubles? Nice job, first graders. Well, if 5 plus 5 is 10, and 6 plus 6 is 12, which is 2 more, then what's 7 plus 7? 14. 14 is 2 more than 12. Great work, first graders. 8 plus 8 is, 16. Nice job. 9 plus 9 is, you got it, 18. Oh, we're going to be using patterns just like we've been doing to help us add and subtract. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's take a look at what they want us to do today. Complete the subtraction equations. But Mrs. Wally, they only gave us addition equations. I know, Rashid. But remember, we can use fact families to help us. If we know that 4 plus 2 equals 6, then we know when we take the whole of 6 and we have one of the parts, the other part is the missing part. So what is 6 minus what is 4? It's 2, because that's the other addend or part of the fact family. Remember when we add, we take 2 parts, put them together to find the whole? We have the whole, we have one part we know, the other part is the part we don't know. Okay. Then what is 9 minus 3? We have 9 as our whole. We know 3. What's the other part? 6. We're using 3 plus 6 equals 9 to help us solve 9 minus 3. We're using patterns to help us solve. Okay, what do we have here? That one looks a little bit different, Pebble, doesn't it? Oh, when we subtract, we have a whole minus a part equals another part. So what do you see there? What do we have? We have 2 parts. What do we do when we have 2 parts to find the whole? 2 parts put together makes a whole. So we should put them together? Oh, look, we have 5 and we have 5. So what's our whole? 10. Great job. Let's go to the next one. Whew. Look at that fact table. It says, Leela notices patterns on the fact table. Didn't we notice patterns earlier? Do you remember what patterns we noticed? What were some of the patterns that we noticed? We noticed that when we were going this way, we went up by 1 every time for the whole, didn't we? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What else did we notice? Yeah, if we go down the fact table, it goes down 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes by 1 going down 2. What else did we notice? Oh, Rashid, that's right. Rashid said, Mrs. Wally, remember when we go diagonal 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. We have all the parts that make 7. We have the 7 fact family. We have the 8 fact family. We have the 9 fact family and the 10 fact. Yes. Is there anything else you notice? We go the other way. It's doubles. 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 5. What would be right here? 6 plus 6. Oh, that's really cool. Let's go on to the next slide. Oh, they colored it in for us. Let's see if they notice similar patterns to us. Rashid, what do you notice about this table? Yeah, it's colored in. Oh, there's this thing right here. What is this right here? First graders, do you know? What is that thing called? It's called a key. Everyone say key. Key. Great. The key tells us what the colors mean. So if I look right here and I see yellow, it says facts with 1. All the yellow boxes are +1 facts, either at the beginning of the addend right here, the first addend, or the second addend. Now this one right here has a +1, but it's a different color. So it must have a different pattern. Oh, there's green. What is the green pattern? Facts with +2, +1, and +2 are very easy to count on, aren't they? They help us be really fluent. Okay. What about this orange? What are they noticing here with this orange peach color? What does it say in our key? It says, oh, it's the same pattern we found. Doubles facts. 1 plus 1 is, 2 plus 2 is, 3 plus 3 is, 6. 4 plus 4 is, 8. And 5 plus 5 is 10. And then the purple. What is the purple showing us? Yes, all of our partners of 10. Are partners of 10 important, first graders? I'll tell you, I am working with second graders and third graders right now, and even third graders are using partners of 10. You're going to use partners of 10 the rest of your life, so it's something you need to know really well. So you need to play lots of games that deal with finding partners of 10. Okay, now we've already looked at this addition table, so we're going to read the question, and I'll go back to the big one so we can see it better. It says, Boom and Buzz look across a row. So they're going to go across like this, okay? Boom says there's a pattern in the addends. Buzz says there's a pattern in the totals. Who is right and how do you know? Let's go back. We've been talking about this. They looked across the row, so looking like this. I think it was Boom. Boom says there's a pattern in the addends. 2 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 2 plus 4. What pattern is he noticing? Yeah, that might be a +2 fact or a +3 fact or a +4 fact. Okay, so there's a pattern in the addends. Then Buzz says, but there's a pattern in the totals too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who's right? Yes, they're both right. They're both seeing patterns. One in the addends, one in the total, one in the parts, one in the whole. They're seeing patterns because guess what? Math is made of patterns. And the whole point of math is to find the patterns and use those patterns to find solutions. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so we think they're both right, and I would agree with you. Okay, time to get out your whiteboards. You ready? We're gonna fill in this chart together and I'm gonna leave it up. And then we're gonna do the math work on the side. So what is 5 plus 1? Yeah, it's 6. And I'm gonna use my pen because I wanna be able to write it really nice for you. 6. You know what, Mr. Kevin? I think I'm going to use a different color there because that's hard to see. What color do you think? Black, Mr. Kevin?
Yes.
Black. Okay, 5 plus 1 is 6. And we know that just one more is 7, and then 8, and then 9. Look, we're using the patterns to help us. Ta-da! Okay, so let's get on our whiteboards and let's do the first one. It says 6 minus 5. Go ahead and write that on your whiteboard. Equals, we don't know. Which of these has 6 as a whole with 5 as a part? Well, I see right here, we have 6 as a whole, right? You see that one? But is 5 one of our parts? Nope. So that one's not gonna work. This one has 6 as a whole and 5 as a part. Can we use that one? We can. So what's our missing part? 1. Is that a true equation, first graders? 6 minus 5 is the same as 1. Well, 6 divided by 5. Yep, it worked. Okay, let's do the next one. 7 minus 5 equals, we don't know. Find the fact with 7 as the whole and 5 as one of the parts or addends. I see it. Do you see it, Pebble? Pebble said, I'm not going to be tricked by the 7 without 5 as a part. So the question is this going to be 3 or 2? What do you think, first graders? 3 or 2? Why 2? Yeah, because 7 right here has an addend of 5, so the other addend is 2. Do you know how we can check our work? Yeah, we add these two parts together and let's see if it makes 7. What is 5 and 2 more? 7! Ta-da! We did it! Okay, 8 minus 5. See if you can find it. 8 minus 5. The whole is 8, and one of the parts is 5. Do you see it? Rashid, you see it? I see it. It's right here. Do, do, do. So what is our missing part or addend? 3. How do we check our work? 5 plus 3, what does it make? It makes 8. Woohoo, we did it. Okay, reset your board. We're going to do the final 2. 9 minus 5. Okay. Use our chart. You did it. That was so quick. What did you get? What's the answer? 4. Because 9 with a part of 5, the other part is 4. How can you check your work? Yep, 5 plus 4 is 9. Great job. Or you could do this. 9. It's 4. 9, 4. 9, 4. We did it. 5 and 4 make 9. 9, take away the 5 is 4. Awesome job. Last one. Oh, Pebble, you don't even need the chart for this one? Why not? Because you know 5 and 5 make 10? Me too. 10 minus 5 is 5. First graders. Nice job. Kiss your brains. Let's reset our whiteboard. Let's go on to the next slide. Look at the table. Circle the ways to make 4, and then complete the addition problems. Okay. Who sees one of the ways to make 4? Do you see it? Go ahead, tell me. What's one of the ways to make 4? Oh, I see it too. 1 plus 3 is 4. There's one way, okay? Do you see another one? We have to find three ways. Yes? Yes, 3 ways. We have 3 equations. Do you see another way where the whole is 4? 2 plus 2 is 4. And 3 plus 1 is 4. Do you notice any patterns there? Yeah, Mr. Kevin, can you show my whiteboard really quick? This will be a quick one. So we have, ta-da! We have 1 and 3 makes 4. And then it does this. 2 and 2. And then it does this. 3 and 1. What do you notice? Yeah. We just take the buckets, right? Here's a bucket and here's a bucket. We have 1 and 3. We just toss one over. Now we have 2 and 2. We just toss one over. Now we have 3 and 1, but we still have 4. We don't change the total amount, do we? All right, so what's our first, go ahead, Mr. Kevin, just back to the slide now. So what's our first equation going to be? What was that first one I showed you? Yeah, this one up top, 1 and 3. And then we toss one over like this, and now we have 2 and 2. Look at that. 2 and 2 make 4. And then we toss one over, and now we have 3 plus 1. Did you write those down on your whiteboard? Make sure you do so you can remember them. It helps to say it and write it to remember. So write those 3 ways to make 4. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. Okay. Ways to make 7. Are you ready to write? We're going to use the table. Do you see all the ways to make 7? I'm going to highlight them and you're going to write them. I'm not going to write them. You get to do this one on your own. Do you see all the 7s? I see a whole of 7, so that's one of the facts. Yep, this is one of the facts. Very good. Great job. Okay, write them all down. I'm going to give you 20, 30 seconds. Ready? Go. Put them on your whiteboard. 7 equals 1 plus 6. 7 equals 2 plus 5. 7 equals 3 plus 4. 7 equals 4 plus 3. 7 equals 5 plus 2. 7 equals 6 plus 1. All the ways to make 7. We've done that before with cubes, right? Now we're doing it with an addition chart. All right, get your whiteboard ready. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to complete these equations as our last problem. Ready and go. All right. 6 minus 3. Ooh, you can't see that. 6 minus 3 equals 3. 7 minus 3 equals 4. Well, if 7 minus 3 equals 4, then 7 minus 3 equals 4. Very good. 8 minus 4 equals 4. Ta-da! You did it. Your assignment today, page 219 and 220. Working with your addition table to help you find unknown facts. Today we learned to recognize and describe patterns we see in addition and subtraction. We observed the addition table, we noticed patterns, we talked about them, and then we used them in problems. Kiss your brain, first graders. Nice job. Now it's time for my favorite part of the day, our affirmation. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. Our email address is down below. And at the end of the show, there's a mailing address and you can write us a letter or draw us a picture. We would love to hear from you. All right, this is that important one that I love to do because it's so important to remind ourselves every single week that you matter. You matter to so many people, but most important, you matter to you. So take a deep breath. I matter. Your turn. Great job, first graders. We will see you next week. Don't forget, there's no school on Monday, so we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.